All right, today it is February 15th. It is 7 a.m. Eastern in the year of 2021. And this is the Hive-Engine weekly developers meeting. And man, just so much happening, so much good stuff. I'm screen sharing so folks can see my screen. The thing that I'd like to start with is Don Chait here, who is working on, he calls them the market pools. I call them the diesel pools, where there's no gas required. And it's market pools first review changes have been completed and sent back for confirmation. Lots of good fixes, see comments in Wizard Room. Next, going to work on rewarding the liquidity providers via the mining contract. So this is all part of the modular way that we design here. So we have like this small, finite, defined modular plan for doing the liquidity pool, and then how we reward it is literally a separate contract, which might seem weird to the people that come from Ethereum. But the idea is that all of these are these like little pieces, and I'm trying to make Hive-Engine. I'm trying to be the Henry Ford of smart contract platforms. I'm trying to make it so that here are all the little components, put them in whatever order you want, in whatever way you want, and at the end of it, you have your token and distribution system and DAO and whatever pieces you need to go create your perfect system. But it's not because you wrote one big mega contract. It's because you daisy chain all these individual smart contracts together. And so that's what we're doing, and that's what we're building. And it's been really fun because I've asked the guys, and they'll give some updates. I said, look, these liquidity pools are so important. Gas fees are through the roof. You know, I got... in the Splinterlands Discord, I have all these people that are telling me, like, wow, it's really expensive. I can't move. I've been providing liquidity, but I can't even pull it out because if I pull it out, the amount of money is going to be like hundreds of dollars, and it's not worth pulling the cash that I have there out because of that. And it's like all these small transactions. If you're some Ethereum whale, then Ethereum is fine. If like $200 doesn't bother you, then it doesn't matter. But for the normal plebs, for the filthy eaters of the world, us normal humans that are not OG eth gods, like, $200 every time you want to do a transaction is pretty expensive. So I'm really excited that the market stuff that we're working on will provide that for free, in that you can trade for free, and that we're currently designing it where there's not even market fees for the trading. So not only do you have gas fees, but then there's normally transaction fees. And I know it's weird, and it's the opposite of what most of these other places do, but I've been trying to make it so that there's literally zero. Once your money's on the DEX, there's zero trading fees. That's what I've been hoping for. So anyways, Don has he completed it, and then he got some review and feedback, at least from Cryptomancer, maybe from Eon as well. And then he's completed that, and we're looking to get a second round of review. And assuming the second round of review is good, we'll implement it. And I think both Riaz and Lion, who are both here in the meeting with us, can go talk through what it's going to look like to put these things on the front end. So Don can't always make it to these early morning meetings, but I asked him for updates, and that's kind of the diesel pools one. So at least on the back end, he works pretty quick. I expect we're now at like a last review stage. Maybe Cryptomancer can confirm this, but I'm expecting the review to happen this week, and for us to actually have diesel pools on the back end by the end of this week. And depending on how things go with Riaz and Lion, it might be we might actually have this all done and on site by the end of February. We'll see what this looks like. So Cryptomancer, can you tell us about the reviews for Diesel Pool, and then tell us about how work on the Ethereum integration is going?
Okay, so I did the initial code review for the Diesel Pool smart contract, and it looks really solid. There are only a few minor validation things and logic quirks that need to be adjusted. So Donshape has made those adjustments now and sent it back to me for a second review. So I will do that second review tomorrow morning my time. And I expect that if that passes, if everything looks good after the second review, I will just go ahead and deploy the contract right away tomorrow.
Now, for witnesses that are new, when you deploy a contract, does that mean everybody has to upgrade their node and there's going to be some new version or hard fork?
Nope. For pure contract deployments, the nodes just automatically pick those up, and there's a zero action required by the witnesses, so all that happens transparently.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of Hive-Engine, is that, every little change isn't a hard fork. There's some trade-offs for this, for sure, but man, it is awesome. All right, so it sounds like, assuming that these things pass muster, we could be good to go in the next, 12 to 16 hours?
Yep, something like that, exactly.
Awesome. All right, well, that's going to certainly put the shot clock onto the front end work. So happy to hear how that goes soon. All right, so you did some of that. Any kind of review pieces that you want to talk about, or do you just want to hop right into Ethereum?
There's nothing else that really needs to be said about the review. The contract itself is pretty straightforward, nothing really super complicated, and the revisions are all very minor, so not really too much to talk about there. So let's move on to the Ethereum gateway.
Sweet.
Let me give you a graphic that has the current status of that project. So here we go.
So inside Discord is a little notification tool that Cryptomancer has made, and it's been awesome this past week to go. It's private just for some users to be able to see it, and it's been awesome to watch all of these transactions going through. I've been following that, and I'm excited for the progress report here.
Yep, so those Discord notifications are for our tech support and error processing. So one thing we've had difficulty with in the past is knowing when things go wrong. And with these new notifications that are built into the Ethereum gateway, if there's a problem with some transaction or if some critical process crashes, then we'll get pinged in Discord in this private channel. So we can see right away what's going on and then take corrective action. So that should be really useful. And the gateway itself, the very first version of it, is actually code complete and finished. It's been deployed in a test configuration on a new server that we set up. And there's two more things remaining before it can actually be live in production. The first thing is that now that I've finished the back-end work, it's handed off to Lion, and he has to do the website integration on the front end. So the gateway requires some changes to the deposit and withdrawal workflow. It behaves a little bit differently than our other tokens. So Lion has some work to do to seamlessly add that into the deposit and withdraw buttons. And once he's completed that work, then we need to actually set up the production configurations and get ourselves a production Ethereum account all ready for it. So meanwhile, while that's going on with Lion, I'm going to be starting the second phase of this project, which is to add support for multiple tokens and ERC20 tokens. So with this first phase that's been completed, we now have swap.eth. We can trade Ethereum itself. The second phase of the project will be adding all the ERC20s.
Nice.
So I expect that'll probably keep me busy for the next couple of weeks.
Okay, but you think that'll be code complete in early March?
Yeah, somewhere around there. I don't think it's going to be hugely complicated.
And then the sort of final Ethereum, actually, it's not final integration. We have the core Ethereum, then we have fungible tokens that are ERC20s coming out the Hive-Engine, and then we have fungible tokens that are built on Hive-Engine becoming wrapped tokens on Ethereum. And then we're going to have non-fungible tokens. So we should build a gateway where it's like the non-fungible tokens from Ethereum can come onto Hive-Engine, and the Hive-Engine non-fungible tokens should go onto Ethereum. And even though Ethereum is not like a good NFT platform for inexpensive things right now, there are things like Binance Smart Chain, which have more or less copied Ethereum, and other projects that are just using Solidity smart contracts as plug and play, so that if we can do this once, it might actually allow us to just repeat the work over and over and have Hive-Engine native tokens be able to be sent to Wax, to Binance Smart Chain, to Flow, to Ethereum, and just facilitate, ease of use lives on Hive-Engine, and access to capital markets can be in all these other places until Hive gets its shit together. So, have you looked at or thought about bringing the ERC 721s or 1155s onto Hive-Engine and vice versa?
I think we're going to have to do some thinking about exactly how we want to handle that. For the Ethereum NFTs, we already have our own NFT protocol, which is loosely based on the Ethereum protocol. So it would be more a matter of dealing with individual NFTs, like mapping the data properties of those NFTs to data properties on the Hive-Engine side, or vice versa. So I'm not sure how much of a generic way there will be to handle that. We'll have to look into exactly how that might work. And as far as wrap tokens for the Ethereum gateway, we're going to have to figure out basically what's a good standardized smart contract template to use for creating tokens on Ethereum. And then we can kind of turn that into a cookie cutter process of cloning that template and then using it to create new wrapped tokens. So we need to evaluate the potential options that are out there, what kind of standard contracts exist already for that sort of thing, and decide what would be good to use.
Okay. Well, that's going to keep us busy for a little while. I'm glad that Eon got peer-to-peer off our back, and so now you as a smart contract developer is not bound by that or tied by that. I guess I should give some kind of update on I'm taking it a little bit for granted that the damn thing is working, but I'm going to go pull this screen up. This is Tribal Decks, this is Witnesses. We've literally done 37,000 blocks already. This thing is working great. And actually, we're up to, we have the 10+1 Witnesses running now, correct?
Yes, that's worth highlighting, actually. So we just deployed an update to the Witnesses contract today, which increased the number of primary witnesses from 6 to 10. And it's worth noting how seamless and smooth that whole upgrade procedure went. So this witness system has only been running for a short period of time, but we've already got a really good, great group of witnesses put together for that. And we were able to very smoothly coordinate with them an upgrade of the core node software in combination with this smart contract update. And the end result was a very smooth, very quick upgrade process. Now contrast that with the very complicated and nasty and messy Hive hard forks that we've seen in the past, and I think it's pretty easy to see the advantage that the engine system really has.
Yeah. So we're currently at 10+1, and Hive prices are increasing, which means B prices are increasing, and it is my intention to not only do 10+1, but there's 35 witnesses. I would like to see 20 witnesses operating on the Hive-Engine witness platform. So I don't know that we're going to do this right away. I think we're going to run it for a couple weeks with 10+1, but it is my plan and objective to go to 20+1 and really make this thing like as Hive-like as possible in this. So that's my news. I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Kudos again to Ian Warped, or Ian Warp as he is on the witness list here. But yeah, just fantastic. All right. So we talked about the fungible tokens. Have a plan for bringing ERC20s onto Hive-Engine starting in hopefully in March, or at least on the back end on March, or in March. Anything else that you care to share with us, Cryptomancer?
Nope, that's all from my side.
Awesome. All right. Lion, you're working on Hive-Engine Classic and DSwap. Do you want to go? You should have some DSwap updates to tell us, and then maybe you can tell us about how your work on Diesel Pool integration is going for the front end.
Yeah, hi, good morning, everyone. So I continue to work on DSwap to swap the crypto tokens directly instead of first depositing and go through the other processes which are already existing. I had some fixing happening, so now I reached the point where we can swap Litecoin directly with any Hive-Engine tokens. So I did some tests sending from some exchanges directly to the deposit address shown on the DSwap website, and after some transaction confirmations, the swap succeeded. I had to build some extra safe checks on that functionality, like people might send less tokens than what they initially committed as the swap transaction. So in that case, we get the converted swapped LTC, and we do a check, and if it doesn't match the initial amount, we just transfer the funds as swap.ltc to the user's account. So nothing gets lost, nothing needs to be refunded. So now we have a proper safe check. And also, if people send more than what they initially committed in the swap transaction, we also do a check for that, and the remaining swap.ltc tokens in this case are also sent back to the user's account. So there are a couple of safe checks I built last week, and now I'm testing with some other tokens like the Dodge token, which seems a bit slow currently, so waiting for my transactions to be confirmed. And last week, while I was working on these pieces, I saw Don Chade's message in the wizard room, and dropped actually the work that I was doing for DSwap and switched to Diesel Pools.
Awesome. So how's that going?
Yeah, for Diesel Pools, we forked the Uniswap code base, and I started working on it. It's very Ethereum based, of course. So we had to move some stuff and remove some stuff, and now we are at the point that we can load the Hive-Engine token instead of the Uniswap tokens and lists, whatever they are using. So we are still working on it. Bait is working on the UI end of it. I'm working on transforming this Ether-based functions to the Hive-based functions we are already using in our own tools. So that's quite well.
Do you think that, you know, how long? So like, let's say it's 24 hours from now, and Cryptomancer has reviewed and Diesel Pools have been accepted onto the back end. What do you think it's going to take to get like an alpha release of Diesel Pools onto Hive-Engine Classic or hive-engine.com.
So there are still a lot of things we need to clean up from the code base of Uniswap. So there are a lot of functionalities which are really Ethereum specific. We only need a fraction of what Uniswap does for our needs actually. So that's one of the points we were discussing with Riaz just today, a couple of hours back, whether it really makes sense to continue with this Uniswap code base, or whether we should focus on what now Riaz is building and making it reusable for the website or diesel tools. But if we will continue with the Uniswap code base now, it should at least take a couple of days to clean up the code which is already there, and I still need to see whether functionalities are missing there to support our offer list. But it should take 2-3 days to make it ready to at least call this add liquidity function, or the other actions which are shared by Donche.
So, my dream for all of this, for DSwap, diesel pools, and whatever other financial tools that we build for literally all of it, is that I hope we figure out a way to go get this to live on all the sister sites, NFTshowroom.com, Lenzy. It should live on Hive-Engine Classic. It should live on tribaldex.com. One of the things that I've experienced is just if you want something, you want it right there at the time that you want it, doing exactly the thing that you want it, and you don't want to have to figure out all this crap as you're going. You want I hope that we'll be able to come up with a really simple modal or interface or single web page that can live on all of these sites and any other future site that we create. That's just let's put these diesel pools and replicate them everywhere, and then ideally we make that portion open source, so that if D-City wants access, they don't have to send anybody somewhere else. They just send them to D-City/diesel pools, and maybe that whole thing is a big DSwap modal where it starts with what token do you want to transfer, and then literally the site itself is figuring out, does it make the most sense to do this through the bid-ask market? Does it make more sense to do it through the diesel pools? Are there price specifics? At some point, hopefully this tool keeps evolving, but on the user side, they're just presented with hey, figure out what tokens you want and we'll swap them for you. And there could be a whole bunch of sophisticated stuff working on it happening out there.
Yeah, I fully agree. If I look at the screen shared just now by Riaz on the chat, if I see this looks awesome. This is just something what we want to build modular, ideally, maybe build separately and include it in TribalDex and anywhere else where people are interested. That's maybe a better way forward, instead of continuing with the fork of Uniswap, which adds another extra tool which we need to maintain and work on if something goes wrong or something is missing, etc. So,
if you're whatever you're good with. DSwap is your baby. What you think makes the most sense is what we ought to do. So if you're good with, there's nothing sacred about Uniswap. It's not if you're not happy with the direction that it's going, then feel free to abandon that and use what Riaz is doing. And if you go down and work with Riaz for a while and you're well, actually, now that we've done this for a while, I wish that we had some of the Uniswap styling or something, just do whatever works best. And what works best, the criteria for me, like the number one criteria, blockchain is so hard, and that what I ultimately want is just what is easiest for the user. That should be our highest criteria. Like in all of our designs, it should always come down to what makes this as simple for the user to use as possible. And that's like, I don't know that is the gold standard or the Bitcoin standard across all websites, but in this case, we are like a consumer-facing product. We onboard a lot of brand new users into crypto because of the blockchain, and our primary focus and the thing that we really judge ourselves against is how easy is this to use. And so with that as your criteria, please make whatever decisions you think are best.
Okay, I will contact Riaz after this call, and also we have to focus on preventing doing the same work twice, and focus on what is the most optimal solution in this case.
Okay. Awesome. All right, Riaz, I think anything else, Lion, or are we good to switch to Riaz here?
That's it. We can switch.
All right, so Riaz, you put 2 screens in here. These are possible diesel pools, and this looks nice. Swap, add liquidity, remove liquidity, and create pool. I mean, that looks like a pretty simple interface to me. I have that blown up on my screen, and then there's a second one with the creation cost. It has the 2 tokens. That looks pretty good. I mean, this looks about as simple as I think we can make these pools. So my first glance is that looks great.
Yep, making this simple is my main motivation. So right now these are only the UI side. Some of the things work. I haven't tested the swapping yet because I am right now in the process of creating the pool functional. So to create a pool, there will be a base token and the code token. So both of them should be different Hive-Engine tokens. So the pool creation tool will check if the pool is valid or if it already exists, and it will show errors. Right now that actually works. Just the broadcasting of customization doesn't work, and the swap thing actually doesn't actually swap yet because I haven't got to that part yet. So add liquidity and remove liquidity is just a blank page. And to talk about your vision of adding this tool in every website, I actually working on that vision as well. In my opinion, I think we can make a bare websites, and then we just say that this diesel pool page with no branding like tribal decks or anything, and then add it in models in all the websites. So that could work. But in case of Ethereum, it's very easy because Ethereum's actually get the data from block parsing. We actually query the API and doesn't parse the block really. So that might be a bit difficult, but I think it's possible if we add it in a iframe and then let users log in using keychain and a smart lock. So that could be a whole new project on its own.
So I missed a couple of the words. So so I know that we are taking a lot of these ideas from Ethereum and benefiting from the work that they have done. How do you see Ethereum playing into this as you just described it?
I was actually comparing our approach to Ethereum's approach because on most of the Ethereum websites are actually DApps. They parse the blocks on your browser, and we actually query the API and then show the data. Do not parse the blocks ourselves. But we can do it, but we are not doing it because of this simplicity. So that actually makes it a little bit different in terms of implementation in our case.
Okay. How hard are we going to be able to open source this portion specifically? And it would be great. A wonderful example is Peak D, right? Or Pete. I would love for them to have a diesel pools page, And, if you want to go swap right on their website, you can go do that. Are we going to be able to open source kind of this page design, the calls, the custom broadcasts? Can we open source that to make sure that basically any website that's in the system doesn't have to spend 2 days making this? They can just, borrow what we have.
Right now, it's not possible because most of the code is shared from the main actual core tribal dex code base. That's how I'm coding it much faster. But we can make it another open source project. Actually, the model thing I was talking about, we can make that open source.
Okay.
Like a new project, but a very tiny one.
All right. Yeah, I'm good with that. I come from a background of sales, and in sales, my leading thought has been, if you want a customer to do something, you have to make it as easy as possible for them to do it. And in this case, I would like nothing more than all of these websites to come join us and support diesel pools on all of these sites. And if we want them to do it, it is our responsibility to make it as easy and simple and a little bit of work with hopefully some benefit to them in order for them to put this on their site. So that we should take all the work out of their job to the best of our ability. So modals and open source, I think, are the ways to go for this.
Yep. If we offer them a model, then we may not need to open source it, but we can share.
Well,
in that case, they will just load the page and it will function as is. It is functioning in the tribal dex.
I think this is a big enough project that we should be open sourcing as much of it as we can. So use your judgment and figure out where the lines are for you. And we have a lot of development to do, so I'm not like dying to take you off of the things that you're working on to just like spend days and days open sourcing things in ways that are not friendly or that don't make any sense because it's not part of the whole code base. But if there are pieces of this that are readily open sourceable and there's ways to get them out there in addition to providing a modal, I would encourage some of that. I wouldn't say drop everything you're doing for it, but I would say if there's some easy way to carve out a piece of this and make it open source, then let's do that.
Yeah, that's what I will do after completing this one. Actually, I think I will be able to extract some of the codes from the main code base and then put them in a single page and launch a new project and then open source it. Also make the page available as a model. So if somebody do not want to code it or using it like any other websites that is not coded in JS, they will be able to load the swap page as well.
So so the highest priority is just getting it working on our site. So if Cryptomancer reviews it and implements this within the next 24 hours, how much lag time do you think there is between that event and you getting diesel pools functioning on tribal decks?
I am targeting by the end of this week. This should be live on the tribal desk. Maybe sooner, but can't guarantee.
So we're gonna need. So like when I go to Hive-Engine, so let me do that. I go to Hive-Engine and I click tokens. It gives me. I'm gonna put my screen up here. It gives me all the list of tokens and how much volume is being traded that day and all the things that are happening. I think we're going to need something similar to the tokens page for the pools page. And that pools page is going to have, now instead of symbol, token name, market cap, price, now it's going to need something like symbol 1, symbol and token name 1, symbol 2, token name 2, total liquidity, I don't know how price will work there.
Yep. I got what you wanted. That's actually pretty easy to do. All the data is available from the RPC.
Okay. So just that, maybe that lives in the modal too. I don't know. But getting a page like this so that users can, somebody wants, and actually we need a button for like staking rewards. So at some point there's going to be we're going to edit the mining contract, which we use as like the smart contract miner. The way that the smart contract miner works is that you stake token A and you earn token B. And what we're going to do is sort of modify that so it's like it's looking at whatever you have staked into the pool now. So it's not token A, it's the same token. So let's say I'm going to make a DEC and Hive pool. It's going to look at how much DEC I have staked, but it's not just like did I stake it? It's did I stake it in the pool? So now it's reading off of that, and it's determining who's getting the liquidity provider rewards based off of that. And so there should be a button somewhere on that pools page or the diesel pools page that's not just like diesel pool trading, but it's like diesel pool tracking. And one of the buttons should be an info button that's able to go pull which contracts are contributing mining rewards and how do they operate, or like what is the pool size, how many tokens, how many times does it distribute per hour. Like what I want to do, there's more than one target audience member here. Oh, Bait, I can hear you. Please mute. So one of the target audience members is the guy that wants to trade, and the other one is the person that wants to provide liquidity. And for the people that are providing liquidity, which is an incredibly important aspect to this, I want to give them information in terms of what is the benefit to you for parking your hard-earned crypto here, and it should be clear what those rewards are, because it's only those mining rewards that are going to come to them. We don't have any transaction fees here, so there's no transaction fee every time. So Riaz, does that make sense for this? Can you? That the mining pool is happening next, but can you see some way to link what contracts are tied to each of the diesel pools and how it's getting rewarded?
I have understood the main idea, but not sure about how that will happen. Maybe should wait for Donchet or Ion to make something up and make the data available in RPC or in any other form.
Yeah, I guess please inform them a little bit about information that you think you might need on the front end, which to me is something like how many tokens. Hopefully, in the calls that you can make to the mining contract, you can see easily how many tokens are in the pool, how many tokens are being distributed. It's like X tokens per Y blocks. How many different accounts are getting awarded, and maybe even see some of the top stakers within that. So like if I click the info box at the top, it's showing me basic pool rules, and then underneath that I can see how much are people providing. Because then as a liquidity provider, I could be like, well, I have $10,000 of swap.doge. Do I want to put this thing in here? And you're like, wow, $10,000 would make me the number one, and I would get all the pool rewards. Or you'd be like, wow, $10,000 ain't shit, and I'm better off trading and getting into a different pool where I could be like a higher provider of liquidity and take more of the rewards. So that's some of what the traders are going to have to ask those ask themselves those questions, or not the traders, the liquidity providers. So I would like to give them as much information as we can, as easily as we can, to facilitate their decision making, and have that live within this open source piece and just friendly website that lives everywhere. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So if there's stuff that you need to make that happen, please communicate with Eon and Dawn to share, here's some of what I would need in order to get the information that liquidity providers need in order to make good decisions.
Yep, I will communicate with them when I will be making the pools page. Right now, most of the data needed for the pools page is available, like the pricing, total liquidity, liquidity in the base token and code token, and also liquidity provided by a single user. So all of those data are available. Just reward data are not available. So maybe when they will work on the mining contract and also this contract, then those data will also be available.
Yeah, and hopefully it's simple for you to figure out, you know, is there something that's been published that makes it easy for you to know this mining contract is associated with this diesel pool contract, so that you're not like scrambling and manually trying to figure out, you know, which mining contract is providing value for which diesel pool. And another thing to keep in mind is that there might be more than one mining contract per diesel pool. So if this works correctly, it should be something like, if I want to incentivize any kind of liquidity pair, I should be able to hop on and do that. So like I'm doing swap.doge and DEC, but I want to get some attention for my project. So I'll be like, hey, if you're part of the Doge and DEC community, you can also earn Doge Deck, which is this other weird token that I've created. And now everybody that's part of that pool is getting this other token, and you're doing that as sort of like an advertisement to them. So as you're figuring out the liquidity rewards or the mining rewards for liquidity providers, please keep in mind that there could be more than one mining contract per pool, and that we should anticipate that as well.
Yep, that should be pretty easy to do if the data is available on the pools table of the market pool. So there is enough room to add the data there. So I will communicate with Don Chat.
All right.
Regarding this.
Anything else to add, Riaz? It's looking really nice.
No, I'm good.
Okay. And you think we have diesel pool, if this goes live, we might be ready by the end of the week?
Hopefully, yeah.
That's amazing. This team is awesome. Thank you all for your hard work and just making this thing fantastic. I think diesel pools are really going to put Hive-Engine on the map. All right. And actually, so Riaz, you and I actually want to get into token creation or tribe creation. I think that workflow needs to be a little bit simpler or a little bit easier to understand. So when diesel pools are done, I'd like to take a short aside to help people make tribes, because I'm seeing interest in that again, which doesn't surprise me. I don't think it matters what the price of Hive is. I think it matters if the price of Hive is going up. And if the price of Hive is going up, people start messaging me, hey, I'm thinking about making a tribe again. So I don't think it's quite as easy to use as I would like. So once diesel pools are done, let's go circle back and do a little bit of fine tuning on that process. Sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Bait, you want to go talk us through mobile and what you're working on?
Okay, sure. Good afternoon, everyone. So, what I did before I had to be interrupted by diesel pool was to work on the authentication the way I said I was going to do it. And what I did was to ask for the users and username and private key, then encrypt it with a string. I was first thinking of an MD5 hash. Then eventually I had to switch to a string that will actually work better with a 6-digit code that the user is going to be using for authentication. So once decryption is successful, the user actually gets logged in. And I think that's what we'll be doing for now, because the mobile keychain is not really what we can hope on for now. We have to, I think we are about a couple of months away from development to actually handle authentication as such.
Wow.
Yeah, we can't hope on that for now. Yeah, because I think it's basically the wallet and signing and money. We can't deal with authentication for now. So that's the point with mobile. I'm Hive-Engine mobile. I had to stop there when you told everyone to swap to diesel pools, which I did, and I think there's a new development on diesel pools now, which I actually have some questions to ask regarding that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, in terms of the standalone application for diesel pools, are we going to what technology should we use, and how do you want the flow to be? Because I had to suspend the mobile Hive-Engine mobile to work on diesel pools, and I think we're actually letting go of Uniswap fork for now. So I want to be clear on what we need to do next. Aside I think the meeting so far answers the question of how do we do cross integrations. But as for the standalone app, how do we go about that? Because I was already digging into it and working on the branding.
Well,
so the idea is based to have one code base. So that's what Riaz is now working on within TribalDex. So that needs to move to a separate project.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be done in Vue. What TribalDex is already implemented in, and we can afterwards include this application in TribalDex and in any other applications we have. So that's still what we need to figure out how we are going to do that. But still, the idea is to move to one code base.
Okay. So if it's going to be in Vue, I'm not sure I'll be able to contribute that much to the Vue project. But when it's time to do the branding and styling, maybe I'll just hop in, because I already have logos and stuffs already been made for that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can tag you if something needs to be done on the mobile and the UI end. I think we first need to figure out with Riaz how to proceed so that we both can continue. You can continue with your work on the Hive-Engine mobile.
Okay, that's fine. Just let me know when you need me to come in. I'll go get back to working on mobile for now.
Okay.
So if it's going to be Vue.js, React should just do it. React should do his stuff. Then when it's a very good spot for me to come in, I think I'll just come in there. But for now, I'll continue working on what I'm working on, and I'll finish up the branding and the logos, which I already started, so we can actually be on the same page regarding that. If anything needs to be retouched, I'll just do that briefly eventually.
Yeah, I think it's okay if we're lagging a little bit on the mobile for diesel pools.
Okay.
So let's get Hive-Engine Classic fully done. If there are pieces that are not done, let's get the Android application out, and then you should have developer access now for Hive-Engine for Apple. So let's go back and get bchatter out, and let's get a Hive-Engine out for iOS, and then diesel pools can come at that point. I don't think it's absolutely critical that we have diesel pool mobile right away.
No. I wasn't talking about mobile. I was talking about web, actually.
Okay.
Okay. I was talking about web, not mobile. We have to get the web correctly before we start switching to mobile, of course. So I actually going back to B Chatter, I actually did a new build for the iOS version, which I'm going to be uploading to the store by the evening or tomorrow.
Sweet.
So I think, yeah,
That's great.
yeah. So I'll communicate with Riaz and Lion regarding the Zupus or the web version.
Alrighty.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's it for the recording. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for listening in to the folks that are developing this. You've done an awesome job. I'm so excited that we're going to get diesel pools. I think it's going to be by Friday, and that's just exciting as can be. I guess lastly, Bait, can you get me some kind of image for diesel pools, in particular for posting?
Sure, I was already working on that.
Yeah.
I'll get you some in the next couple of hours.
All right, perfect. All right, guys, I actually have to run, so let's call this one a morning. And thank you, everybody. Let's get a killer week, and let's get diesel pools out. And to anybody that's listening, if you think having liquidity pools on Hive-Engine is a big deal and important, then I would encourage you to get some bee, get some worker bee, start your tribes. And if you want to support development here, please get some farmer tokens or some mythical farm tokens, and because that all helps fund development. All right, thanks everybody. Thanks for listening, and to the devs here, thanks for working. It's been awesome. Bye, guys.